and of course all the members of the armed forces of Sri Lanka, and of course this beautiful country, for inviting me to address in the first preliminary session of the conference which is being held over 2 days from today. It is a unique honor to be in Sri Lanka, and let me start my presentation with an homage to the 259 innocent victims who are both the residents of Sri Lanka and tourists on 21st of April this year, when terrorists bombed 3 places of worship and also 3 hotels in Colombo. The people of India and the armed forces of India stand in solidarity with the people of Sri Lanka over this, and we will jointly in the region attempt to fight this scourge of terrorism. The topic given to me is as flashed on the viewfoil. You've been hearing about it right from the morning. But let me give you an Indian perspective. Before I do that, let me talk of this new technology. This word new, when used in conjunction with technology in today's world, loses its relevance because of the evolving nature of technology, which is at such a rapid pace and is so dynamic that it becomes obsolete in no given time. As we go further, let me first crystal gaze. The keynote address speaker in the morning said that by next year all of us will have 3 devices which will be connected to the internet. Let's see what will happen by 2040. So if this is what is going to happen, I, being from the armed forces, will restrict my talk to the military domain largely and then talk of the other challenges also. What Clausewitz said centuries ago was echoed by Mr. Robert Gates in the US, and recently during the Kargil victory celebration, 20 years from Kargil, what our chief said is also as shown on the slide, that the conflicts of the future will be more violent, unpredictable and asymmetric in nature, with high-tech space and cyberspace playing a greater role. I will be covering my talk under these heads: a little bit of the environmental scan, that when India looks at these challenges, what is the region which is our prime focus, and of course, what is the threat construct from this technology, and what are these looming challenges, and thereby evolve or give some recommendations or give a way ahead. Our strategic space encompasses our size. We are the 7th largest nation in the world, and the location is astride the world's international shipping lanes in the Indo-Pacific region. We share land borders with 7 countries and maritime boundaries with 6 countries, and have economic and security interests which extend from the Persian Gulf in the west to the Straits of Malacca in the east, and from the Central Asian republics in the north to south of the equator. To the immediate west is the Afghanistan-Pakistan region, which has been globally recognized as the epicenter of terrorism now for the past 3 decades. The proxy war launched by our neighbor continues unabated through various jihadi organizations, be it the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the others. The growing extremist and religious movements in the neighborhood continue to affect the religious movements and shifts our focus from our regional goals of seeking literacy, poverty alleviation, clean energy and all-encompassing growth and development. If you look at the region, you will find that historically South Asia was one of the most integrated regions. We had cultures, languages, religions and values which were crossing national boundaries, and they were creating a seamless kind of a symbiotic relations between diverse people. However, today, South Asia is one of the least integrated and one of the most conflict-ridden areas in the world, with terrorism, religious fanaticism and class wars being endemic. Besides cross-border terrorism, external economic, military and migratory threats are also there, which are imposing great strain on the economic, military and other instruments of the state. Also, there are threats from non-state actors like terrorists, pirates, human smugglers and illegal fishing, poaching. Add to this, there is the dimension of drug trafficking, fake currencies, arms running, money laundering, cybercrime, misuse of an uncontrolled social media to spread religious hate to maximize ethnic and civil strife in the region. Overall, the regional construct has the complexities of geopolitical and security concerns emanating due to 3 nuclear capable countries, long and unresolved border issues. We have almost 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers of unresolved borders with Pakistan, China, and recently we resolved some of our border issues with Bangladesh. Then there is the influx of migratory population due to ethnic fault lines in nation states and of course the scourge of terrorism. These, coupled with the growing threat of radicalization in the region, gets further compounded with the ISIS tentacles attempting to spread right from the Middle East, overtaking the whole of the Indian subcontinent, going on to the ASEAN countries and extending eastwards towards Philippines. Now let's see the Indian Ocean region. India retains comprehensive and vast interests in the Indian Ocean region, which acts as a vital trade link between the West and East with worldwide implications. 66% of the world oil, 33% of the bulk cargo, and 50% of the world container shipments go across this region. With a coastline of over 7,500 kilometers, an EEZ of 2.01 million square kilometers, more than 1,100 islands in the Andaman Nicobar and the Lakshadweep island chains, and an Indian peninsula which is jutting almost 2,000 kilometers into the Indian Ocean. The IOR is central to India's growth and security. Therefore, we look towards technological advancements to offset the resource crunch by harnessing the mineral and oil resources from the ocean beds in an environment based on rule of law, freedom of navigation, piracy control, pollution control, and minimized effect of global warming. Before I go on to the extended neighborhood, let's take a view of the internal security situation in India. A major aspect influencing the internal security dynamics, apart from the factors such as demography, governance, the size of India, and socio-cultural ethnic dynamics, is the orchestration of interference, disturbance, and terrorism by our adversarial neighbor in the form of proxy war in J&K. Insurgencies in northeast and left-wing extremism, though largely controlled, continue to pose a challenge. We also need to look at threats to our economic growth and energy security due to any disruption, including man-made disasters. When we look at the extended neighborhood, this volatile region has many influences on it. The US imminent pullout from Afghanistan, US-Iran tensions, the Syrian crisis, the migration and instability amongst the littorals, besides the embedded terrorist infrastructure in Africa, Middle East and South Asia. The crucibles of terrorism remain, of course, in the AFPAC region. However, key organizations or initiatives that have also had a positive influence on the region are as shown: the SCO, the BRI, the BIMSTEC and the ASEAN committees. When we look at the regional construct, therefore we see that India could also open up with machine learning being used to identify emotionally receptive individuals and the specific triggers that might push them towards violence. So what is the way forward? Regional and global differences amongst the nations have to be kept below the threshold of disputes through dialogue, discussion and engagement. UN requires further strengthening by member nations, including permanent UNSC members, with a resolve to abide by decisions taken on the global issues of dissonance. Development and use of weapons of mass destruction have to be kept under check. Besides the joint resolve and strategy to fight against non-state actors and this menace of terrorism. India has taken a lead in this direction, setting an example for other players to emulate. A whole of region approach has to be adopted. There has to be inclusion, dialogue, cohesion and engagement with all stakeholders. Empowerment of youth, families, religious and cultural organizations have to be carried out. The old Sanskrit phrase of Vasundhava Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family, needs to be adopted. Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region, doctrine as enunciated by India, needs to be effectively followed. With that, I come to the last slide. This is what our Prime Minister quoted, that there could be a lot of technological advancements, but we need a combination of science of thinking and art of living to progress together as humanity. With that, I have come to the end of my talk. Jai Hind, and thank you for bearing with me for a little extra time.
General Arvind Bhatia, thank you very much for your comprehensive presentation covering not only the technological challenges but also the challenges posed by some specific problems in the region. Now our next speaker is Major General Asif Ali, who is the Director General, Institute for Strategic Studies, Research and Analysis. General Asif Ali was commissioned in 15 self-propelled medium regiment artillery in 1987. He is a graduate of Command and Staff College, Quetta, National Defense University, Islamabad, and the National Defense University, China. The General has held various staff assignments, including General Staff Officer 3 and late Brigade, Major General of an Brigade and Chief of Staff at Headquarters, Army Strategic Force Command. On the instructional side, he remained on the faculty of Command and Staff College, Quetta, and School of Artillery. He has also served as military observer in Iraq and Kuwait. He has commanded 15 self-propelled medium regimental artillery Mujahid infantry battalion along line of control, 116 infantry brigade in operation Al-Mizan and division artillery operation Al-Mizan. He has remained commandant School of Artillery and has the honor of commanding a strategic division. He is presently serving as DG ISSRA since 1st January 2019. General Asif Ali. Now it's
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Honorable Chancellor, KGU, Sri Lanka, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. It is indeed a matter of immense pleasure and privilege for me to participate in the 12th episode of International Research Conference. But at the outset, allow me to acknowledge and express my deepest gratitude for the warm hospitality and the courtesies extended by the KDU. Thank you very much, sir. We have really been looked after very well. I consider myself deeply honored to be here on this platform to speak to such an august gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to establish which country is the epicenter of terrorism, because so far the world has not been able to agree upon the unanimous definition of terrorism, because of the reason that one man's terrorist is other man's freedom fighter. But who knows better than Pakistan the price which is being paid as a war against terrorism? It's the war where my country has suffered more than 81,000 casualties, both civilian as well as the military, including the children and the women. My country has suffered a loss of over $200 billion, and the intangible loss cannot be counted. It's the country where the officers lead from the front, and it's the army where the injury and the casualty ratio is 1 to 12. For every 12 soldiers, there is one officer who has suffered a casualty. So it is highest in the world. So who can tell me that what is the price to be paid for terrorism? But today I won't be talking about that. I'll be talking about the challenges to humankind in the face of new technologies, and especially focusing on to the Pakistan's perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, technological advancements have undoubtedly assured tremendous development for the mankind. However, irresponsible usage of advanced technologies is beginning to pose serious challenges to humankind. As defense sector is one of the biggest users of state-of-the-art technologies, thus there is a shift in the art of war and peace. Sophistication, advancements, and application of new technologies have led to an information revolution. Artificial intelligence, internet, and quantum computing have introduced new challenges for defense planners. These challenges range from cyber attacks, data manipulation, hybrid war, fake news, digital espionage, and technological apartheid. Pakistan too is faced with these challenges. In this context, my talk aims to analyze the technological related challenges that humankind faces today from Pakistan's perspective, and I'll attempt to highlight certain measures to deal with such challenges. I will follow the scheme of presentation as flashed on the screen. To set the ball rolling, my argument is that as new technologies are advancing at a rapid pace, these are constantly shaping new threats. Hence, to counter these challenges, defense planners should also have the capacity to adapt and innovate. As the challenges discussed here are common to mankind, hence the focus should be to learn from each other's experiences to counter these challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, some of the theoretical perspective of human security. Concern of humankind for security is not new, as it has evolved from traditional security that was state-centric to comprehensive security, meaning human-centric. Readings of some of the theorists and social scientists like Hobbes, John Locke, Rousseau, and Hume clearly illustrate that people enter civil society and civil states from the state of nature in order to seek protection. Traditional notions of state-centric security are being challenged by proponents of human security. This is due to the emergence of non-traditional security threat perception, that is environmental, societal, economic, cultural, and technological interventions of interdependent world. A Pakistani economist and international development theorist, Dr. Mehboob ul-Haq, first drew global attention to the concept of human security and sought to influence UN's World Summit on Social Development held at Copenhagen in 1995. He argued that ensuring freedom from want and freedom from fear for all persons is the best path to tackle the problems of global insecurity. Barry Buzan argues that sources of threats for security agencies and humankind are diversifying in the contemporary time, where environmental, economic, human, and other securities sit alongside military security. Arthur W. Westing suggests that two interdependent branches of comprehensive human security, which are social and environmental security, can be broken down into a series of subcomponents to better achieve optimal security. Social security can be simplified to components as established: political safeguards, economic safeguards, personal safeguards, and military safeguards. Environmental security is composed of rational resource utilization, which is the resource that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Comprehensive human security attempts to unify social security together with the environmental security. Thus, the concept of security is not new. This is just being repackaged, retooled, and now presented to ponder about life during this time, when wars between states are becoming rare and internal violence within states and between ethnic groups is becoming more prevalent. The humankind today is facing greater risk from non-traditional threats and new technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, challenges posed by new technologies can be exemplified through fabled heads of Hydra. When one is cut, the new grow with resistance to the weapon used. Some of the challenges related to these new technologies are being faced today are artificial intelligence. The use of artificial intelligence in our daily life is increasing, and now it is being used from mobiles to computers to home to buildings, etc. Siri, Alexa, PM, Watson, Google Assistant are all first generation precursors and incredibly powerful AI techno figures. AI is giving us the ability to hack humans, which means to predict their choices, to understand their feelings, to manipulate them, and also to replace them. In defense sector, weapons duly guided by artificial intelligence can strike with more accuracy and precision, thus helping commanders in decision making. Thanks to the internet, it is now easier to connect with the other people and to exchange news and